All right, Monday Night Football last night. Wow. The Ravens looked excellent. They fall down 10-0, and after that, casually score 41 to 8. They go on a 41 to 8 run, which gave them a lead of 41-18. Tampa Bay tried to make a little comeback. They scored a couple garbage time touchdowns, ended up potentially losing Chris Godwin for the season. So that's, I mean, obviously we always say fight on till the last whistle, but when you're down by 23 points in the fourth quarter with a couple minutes to go, maybe that's when you just say, we're going to live to fight another day. Problem for Tampa now, they lost Mike Evans, they lost Chris Godwin, so Baker was playing like an MVP candidate, and he had a decent game. He definitely helped with that garbage time touchdown pass. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, lost by 10 at home to a great Baltimore team, so I'm not going to bang on Baker, but with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, he was playing like an MVP candidate. Problem now, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both got hurt. Godwin, who through 7 weeks was the best receiver in football, and I don't say that lightly. I think that the only receiver that was playing on the same level as Godwin was Jamar Chase. That's how good he was doing. But he's going to be out for the season, it sounds like. That was a terrible injury, a knee injury, it looks like, or an ACL, something. It was bad enough that they wouldn't show the replay, so clearly it was bad. And so without Godwin and with Mike Evans also now hurt with a hamstring, I don't really see how. So this is one of the bad plays. Here's Baker going to throw a red zone pick. Yeah, you can't be doing that. Without Godwin, without Mike Evans, I don't see how Baker is supposed to succeed, and I don't see how the Bucs. I mean, look, next week the Bucs play the Falcons. If they win that game, they'll be 5-3. They'll have a game and a tiebreaker on Atlanta, and I think they will win the game, and I think they will win the division. But I don't see how they're supposed to make a playoff run when you're missing Chris Godwin. I mean, that game, I just felt bad because they had that game. They were winning. They were dominating early. That red zone pick changed everything. It gave the Ravens all the momentum. They had all the momentum in the second half. And in the second half, it wasn't even close. The Ravens dominated. They are clearly the better team. And what sucks for the Ravens is I can't let myself get too excited about Baltimore because I know what's going to happen. They're going to break my heart. Right? Baltimore's going to break my heart no matter what because they're going to play the Chiefs in the playoffs. They're going to lose. Or they're going to play Houston in the playoffs. They're going to lose. I really like Houston. Either way, I can't fall in love with Baltimore because I know they're gonna break my heart like they've done in previous seasons. That's what they do, right? They bomb you with these amazing games. They love bomb you with these amazing games, but they break your heart in the end because they can't beat the Chiefs. Nobody can beat the Chiefs. And for Baker, his MVP candidacy pretty much over at this point because Lamar at this point, there's no way you can't. I mean, Lamar has to be the MVP through 7 weeks. And the top 2 contenders would be Baker and Joe Burrow. Guess what? Lamar beat them both in shootouts and outplayed them both. So Lamar's your MVP right now. Baker leads the NFL in touchdowns, 18 passing, 2 rushing, so 20 total. Lamar is second, 15 passing, 2 rushing, so he has 17 total, but Lamar has more passing yards than Baker, more rushing yards. Lamar Jackson is 11th in rushing yards, 6th in passing yards. He could end up finishing top 10 in both rushing and passing. That'd be incredible. He also leads the league in passer rating, 2nd in yards per attempt, only trailing Jared Goff. And the only quarterback with more wins now, he's at 5. So does CJ, so does Jared Goff, so does Sam Darnold. The only guy who has more wins is Mahomes, but Mahomes has been terrible. 8 picks, 6 touchdowns. The stats haven't been good. I don't think Mahomes has been terrible, but the stats haven't been good. So Lamar's your MVP right now. He's going to win his 3rd. How about that? I mean, he's playing at another level. He's playing at another level. He is beating team. He threw 5 touchdown passes against Tampa. He is playing on another level. He has shifted into a new gear. This is a Lamar Jackson that we haven't. He's playing better than he was last year. This version of Lamar is a better version of Lamar than the one we got last year. I mean, it's insane what we're getting out of Lamar Jackson right now. Absolutely insane. So, yeah, Baker, to his credit, he's never going to give up. He's a fighter. He's a tough player. Chip on his shoulder. I don't see how he can keep this up without Chris Godwin for the season. Maybe Jalen McMillan will pick things up. I mean, Sterling Shepard is their number 3. A veteran Sterling Shepard who has done nothing over the past 3 seasons. So I definitely worry about them being able to keep it up without Chris Godwin. Let's talk some Chargers Cardinals real quick. Cardinals with a much needed win, and I did predict this 17-15. Chargers couldn't find the end zone, 5 field goals. And I do worry a little bit that the Jim Harbaugh offense, which is very run heavy, run first, he wants to play tough, gritty, nails offense. I worry that that's taking away a little bit from Justin Herbert, but at this point, we may need to start shifting the discussion about Justin Herbert. For the past 3 or 4 years, it's been, well, Herbert, he's a top 10 guy, borderline top 5. We've always saw, I mean, when the job came open to coach Justin Herbert, we always said he's a great quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback. He's a game changer. And I'm not so sure that he is right now. He's not even been a top 20 quarterback in the league this year. He's not throwing for many yards. He's not throwing for many touchdowns. His team is now 3-3. And I still think the Chargers are a playoff team, but they're working out some kinks early on, and it hasn't looked great. And it feels like they're just a little bit too slow. And they're clearly trying to do the Jim Harbaugh tough guy thing. But I think they need to get a little more dynamic. Of course, they don't have a whole lot of playmakers. They had Quentin Johnson was out tonight. Lad McConkey is their top guy right now. It's not a great offense. The offense, they stall in the red zone. These drives are stalling out. Herbert, you can tell he does have talent. It feels like he hasn't gotten better since his rookie season. It's like what he was when he came into the league, he still is. He's just a good quarterback. But I think we may need to start changing the way we talk about him. He's not in the same level as a Burrow or an Allen. And I think we always kind of viewed him as like the next guy. It was like Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow, and then Herbert was like that 5th guy or that 6th guy, depending on, Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff, whatever. He was always kind of up there, and like he's like the 5th or 6th guy we would talk about. And I don't think that that's where he's at right now. There's a lot of quarterbacks right now that are playing better than Justin Herbert, starting with the guy in the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, playing better. Geno Smith's playing better. Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Baker. So, and by the way, Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love as well. So he's being passed up right now. We're seeing Herbert is being surpassed by a lot of the other young quarterbacks. And he's falling behind. He's not improving. And I think we thought with Harbaugh he would improve, but instead it's almost the opposite. Harbaugh's offense is not about Herbert being a star. Harbaugh he's about running the ball, playing tough, a tough brand of football. And Herbert is not thriving at all in that offense. Again, I still think the Chargers make the playoffs. They have an easy-ish schedule. They get to play the Raiders twice still. They'll win those games. So I think they're a playoff team. They got the Panthers, the Saints. They'll win those games. The Panthers, the Saints. Probably they'll beat the Bucs. We'll see. But like I said, I'm worried about the Bucs without Chris Godwin. Falcons, they can beat. There's a lot of winnable games on that schedule. So Chargers are gonna make the playoffs. Cardinals, they might also. They're 3-4. They're a game out of first place. If they beat Seattle in a couple weeks, they play Seattle. If they win that game, they will be leading the West. What? Could the Cardinals win the West? Absolutely. They could. I'm not gonna go there yet. I still like the Rams, but um, they could absolutely win the West. I mean, they're playing well, and everything seems to be clicking for them right now at 3-4. But they already have wins over the Rams and 49ers. That matters. Division wins, and the division's bad this year. Seattle's 4-3. They lead the division, but I don't think anybody really thinks Seattle's a juggernaut. 49ers are struggling, and injury all over the place for the Niners, and the Rams also. Injuries all over the place, losing record. NFC West wide open this year, and the Cardinals could definitely win it. That's the way I see it. Yeah. Ultimately, it was a good game, good defensive game. Definitely a Harbaugh type of game, but I think Harbaugh, there's a learning curve. There's a bit of some growing pains. That's what I would call it in LA. It's growing pains, but I think Herbert needs to do a little bit more to just be a game changer himself. I haven't seen it all this season. Even in their wins, I haven't seen Herbert be a game changer. I've seen him be a game manager. That was a good throw, and he can make good throws like that. But he needs to be more consistent about it, and he needs to make plays himself instead of just following the playbook of Harbaugh.